All right, everybody, RGB Shelby here again. We're going to show you today is how to install the RGB with turn sequential halo control system. So when you get the control system, you're going to have a couple items. You're going to have your regulator with your power connections and your connection for your control, which is going to be the 3-wire, and then the connection to the turn signal box, which your turn signal box is going to be this one here. These are the connections that will go to your components. Notice how it's 3 pins. It's not 4 or 5. It's only 3. The addressables always have 3. You will have the connection that goes to the control box, and then you'll have 2 of these turn signal connectors. Get that out of the way. And then also you will have your control. It's the SP110. Now you notice it says do not remove here. Do not remove this. There's actually a little plug back there. If you put power to it, all you're going to do is end up destroying your system. So save yourself a little bit of time and just leave that alone. So one of the questions we always get is there's always some of these. If we set it up for you, we'll usually just trim off this green piece. But some of you will get it if you order just the system for self-installation. It'll come like that. This green wire doesn't really do anything. It's actually for a setup, a different setup. This control actually does a couple different setups. It can also do a DMX setup, which we don't offer, but you know, if we did, you know, it would have that extra wire and it would have a 4-pin here. So it doesn't control regular RGB, it just controls the addressables. So the green wire, you can just trim it and get it out of there. It's not really doing anything. So first thing you're going to want to do is get yourself, of course, some little heat shrink. We always heat shrink our connections here. That way we get the best waterproof connection we can. So here we have our pin for our controller. So let's connect that one first. Of course, we here use a little dielectric grease. We're going to throw our 3/4 on. And then connect that together. Put our heat shrink on top of that. Same thing with our control, Bluetooth control. A little bit of that. Put that through. And then we're going to connect that to this side where our controller goes. Control that. Slide that over. And then we'll use our heat gun and heat shrink that together. Okay, so now we have our connections heat shrunk. Nice watertight seal. Control, turn signal wires, and then these are the wires that go to our components. So first thing we're going to have to do is connect power. So the standard setup here comes with 2 ring terminals. You can connect this straight to the battery. Once you go into the app, you can use the app to turn the components on and off. But you can also do different things. For instance, you can actually remove this ring terminal, add one of these add a fuse, and actually connect that to your fuse box to an ignition. Different vehicles require different amps on these. So always check with the owner's manual and find a good ignition source. That way when the vehicle turns on, it'll automatically power up the unit. And then you can control it, or if you leave it on white, it'll turn it on white and you'll be ready to go. You won't have to worry about what color your vehicle's on. Another thing you can do, some people might want to actually tap this into the parking lights, or you can actually add this on a switch. So you can run this wire to a switch inside the vehicle, run that to power, and then you control when it's on and when it's off by yourself. So we're going to simulate connecting this to a battery. That way we can show you how we connect the rest of the system. Okay, so now we have just our connectors for in-house. This is what we use to power our system up. Now our system is powered. Got that. Next thing we're going to do is actually connect any connections that we have. Now, some will have 2 connections, some will have 4. One will go to the left, one goes to the right. It doesn't really matter which connection you put to which turn signal. Once you connect either one to the turn signal, what you're going to do is just depends on where you plug this in. So for instance, I plugged this one in. You can tell how I got the amber. So say this one here is the one I have for the turn. See how it's not turning? So all you're going to do, swap this to the other connector. Now you can see, now that's functioning. So like I said, when you turn it on, it doesn't matter which side you connect this. Connect it to the turn signal wire, and then you can connect these to the regulator in coordination with the wire. So you can actually change it up. Let me plug this other one in as well. So if this one here goes to the passenger side, but your driver's side is the one that's doing the turn signal, simply swap the connections around. And now you can see how the other side's turning. So now to connect these turn signals, we use a few different ways here. Like I say, one of the things you can use is a red tap, which is one of these. And this will just simply crimp on the wire, plug that in. You can also use one of these Scotch locks, as this one here, which goes into the wire. Or you can use one of these new Morimoto ones where you cut this off, put that end inside, and then this will clip on to your turn signal wire. So the turn signal wire, now this is just a basic turn signal plug where your light bulb will be in there, so it'll go into the headlight. Of course, they come in different shapes. But normally, what you're going to see on your turn signal is you're going to have 3 wires. Some have 2, depending on the vehicle. Most of the time, if you have a factory halo, a factory DRL, you will not have the center. What you'll have is you'll have the 2 outer wires. So you'll see this one here is a black, which is going to be a ground. The center wire normally is going to be a daytime running light. So if you don't have halos, what it does is the turn signal bulb will be a dual filament, and that dual filament will run the low power as your daytime running light. Any of you guys with the 10 to 13 Camaros, you'll know, since you don't have a halo, what happens is your turn signal actually comes on whenever you go into drive, and that's this wire here. So this wire here that's opposite of the ground is normally the turn signal wire, so that's where you're going to want to tap in. So you're going to want to tap in this one here to that wire, and like I said, it's different ways to do it. You can connect one of these here, use one of these taps, tap into that way. You can run one of these Scotch locks on it, run it that way, or you can run one of these Morimoto connectors on it as well. So that's how you're going to connect that. And like I say, it's a general thing because this system will cover many vehicles. So if you have questions what specific wire, usually you can go on forums or you can go in your owner's manual and it'll give you a little more specifics for your application. So we like to keep these generalized because we tell everybody connected to a certain color wire. If you don't have that vehicle, you're going to get lost because you're looking for that specific wire. So we try to keep it general and leave it up to the installers. We always recommend professional installation. So, look up on the websites, TRS website, Dow Dynamics. They do have dealer sites on there where you can go on there and find a local dealer that's reputable to do your installation. So once you do that, then all you got to do, this one here uses the LED hue app. You're going to that LED hue app. You're going to scan, and it'll come up. This one here, the SP110E, which is this one here with the, we call it the white boost here. So now it's connected. You're going to go down, you're going to select GRB SK6812 RGBW and 600 pixels, enter, and now you're going to be able to control your colors. So remember to turn that up, that top bar. The bottom bar you can use, and that's going to be the amber. If you have the amber, you can tell that one there, or you can turn the amber all the way down. And now you have your colors that you can go through on these as well. And then your modes, auto modes. Of course, you can slow it down, speed it up with the center bar on that as well. So I said this is just the RGB with turn. This is a pretty general installation, but hopefully it'll help you out. Like I said, one of the things you always want to do is make sure whenever you do any connections, try to do the heat shrink, little dielectric grease under there. And then the boxes, usually these boxes, you see how it's got these tabs, you can mount it to metal, somewhere metal. And then also another thing you can do to kind of protect it is you can tell right here, it's got a little bit of openings on there. What you can do is use, say, like a little bit of Flex Seal or your dielectric grease, put a little bit around there just to try to keep the moisture out, and make sure you mount this on a nice hard metal surface, and that'll protect it from overheating. It'll be a heat sink and kind of dissipate that heat and protect your investment for a little bit longer. So like I said, if you got any questions, DM us on Instagram, RGB Shelby, or you can email us at cameralights@gmail.com. Thank you.